totally understand where you're coming from with that.
All right,
Okay,
cool.
so the next list we're doing is the it's good, but I don't want to be on Reddit list, which is what we can call like potentially good.
Potential.
Yeah,
Okay, okay.
potentially
I'm gonna
good.
pull these guys
Yeah,
up
and I think
here.
I have an infest. I think I have ultimate infestation on this one too. So
Yeah, I put Saranite Chain Gang in here as well.
yeah. All right, so Allie, you want to start off again? Like I think you've got
Yeah,
all
sure.
unique ones actually.
Yeah. So the first one is Voodoo Hexer. It is a 5-mana 2/7 taunt. Freeze any character damaged by this minion. It's a shaman card. I just really like this card. I've always enjoyed kind of control shaman, whether it be like a Nazoth shaman. Oh,
Yeah.
did I cut out there?
No, you're there. No, you're fine.
Oh, okay.
No.
Sorry. Yeah, my computer did something weird. Sorry. So yeah, Nazoth shaman or something along those control lines. And I think that a 2/7 taunt, has like Allie Armorsmith has been very powerful in the past. And I think freeze is such a powerful mechanic that if you wanted to play some kind of a control shaman, I think it's a really good card that has a lot of potential. If you were going like the evolve route and not the token evolve route, like a little bit more of a mid-rangey, like with the Master of Evolution 4/5, and you wanted like a defensive tool, I think it would be good. And it's also a 5-drop, so it would evolve into a 6-drop. So that's like just a one-off case. But if you wanted to go that more mid-range route, I think it would be a good defensive card. So yeah, I really like him a lot. So, or her, I think it's girl.
The Death Knight is
Like
an
her a
evolve
lot.
too. The Death Knight hero power is an evolve too.
Yeah, exactly. So, if you're playing a control Death Knight, even though it's only 5 mana, I think this card definitely could have a slot in Shaman decks for sure. So, yeah. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree. It seems just solid.
Yeah.
Solid, yeah.
I'm interested to see, like, I think it's solid too. I'm really curious to see if the freeze mechanic in Shaman is actually going to be strong or not, because my gut feeling is that it's not going to be strong, because like if you do go the freeze route, you're giving up I feel like some of the biggest strengths of the Shaman class, which is the explosiveness. You kind of have this like value mixed with explosive combination that's made the just what made the Shaman good in the current meta. And I think if you go this route, it's something a little bit more along the lines of value and maybe a slower type of game. And I don't know if Shaman has that capability of doing it right now. So it really depends on like if maybe freeze with the weapon that kills stuff too. So if you can combine like that with that weapon too, this could be super good. But overall, yeah, like you said before, the taunts I think mid game for Shaman have always been great. Whether it's things from below or something bigger, it's been good. So cool.
Yeah, I don't think the payoff of a whole kind of freeze shaman archetype is kind of good enough. Like the 3-mana weapon is the 3-mana weapon is very good, but other than that, all you have is kind of the legendary, which is pretty slow.
Yeah, it's like
so I
can't.
It's like I can't really see a freeze shaman being a thing, but this card is so good that
it doesn't have to be.
Can exist outside.
It can be a one-off. Yeah, it's completely.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why I like it. All right, shall I move on to the next one?
Speaking of freeze.
All right, so Priest. No, Cold Wraith.
Yeah, Cold Wraith
is a mage card, right?
Yep.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so you said speaking of priest, and I was like,
no, I said speaking of freeze. Speaking of freeze.
Oh, speaking of freeze, I'm sorry, they said priest, and I'm like, did I get this
Speaking
wrong?
of priest, we were talking about shaman.
That's why I was very confused. So Cold Wraith is a 3-mana 3/4 mage card. Battle Cry: if an enemy is frozen, draw a card. I don't know why I love this card so much. I just really do. I think 3-mana 3/4s have always been strong. Like I think people used to just play Spider Tank like back in the day just for the sake of it being a 3/4. Spell Slinger was played quite a bit. So I think just having, or what's that card in Mage that recycles back? Like when you're playing Kazakus Mage.
Soulcaster?
Yeah, Soulcaster. And so like sometimes when you're running a Kazakus Mage deck, you just drop Soulcaster because sometimes it's just really solid to drop a 3-mana 3/4. So if you are playing the Death Knight or Frost Knight, Frostlich Jaina hero. And, you know, obviously Mage has a lot of freeze mechanics like Frostbolt and Blizzard and all that stuff. I think the potential to draw an extra card, like obviously card draw is always strong, and just having a minion to kind of help combat against aggro in the early game as an option is sweet too. So I really love this card a lot.
Goes well with like Nova and stuff like that too.
Yeah, Nova, like there's a lot.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's like, is it better in type of tempo mage type things with like Frostbolts and maybe War Rally and Breath of Sindragosa, or more freeze mage type things where you've got like Nova and Blizzard and stuff? I don't know.
Yeah, there are a lot of spells and minions that freeze one enemy. So if you can get like a 2-drop or even just a 1-drop that can accomplish that, then this card is guaranteed, you know, it's going to be drawing a card more than 50% of the time, which would be huge. I mean, like that makes the card like all of a sudden super good. Yeah.
Exactly. So I think it's going to be good.
Yeah. I think it's solid for sure.
All right. Moving on to court. Oh, sorry. Just kidding.
We're going across. Yeah, we'll go across. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Oh yes, and we gotta talk about penguins here. This is
Snowflip the Penguin. 0 mana 1/1 beast. I love this card.
Yes, he did say 0 mana 1/1, guys. He actually did say that. So
it's the best 0 mana minion we've had in the game so far. And the reason I put it in this section is because I'm considering it as a hunter card here. And one of the problems with Hunter is that Hunter's early game is inferior to a lot of other aggro decks. And so it's pretty hard to actually get beasts to stick to the board a lot of the time. So what Snowflipper Penguin is allowing you to do is kind of use your really powerful beast synergy cards, but not actually having to have something on the board. So like Crackling Razormaw, Houndmaster, you don't have to have anything on the board, and you can still have a really strong tempo play with the Penguin. It's also synergizes really well with a card that doesn't see play at the moment, but I know we've talked about on this show a fair bit, Stampede. Stampede, and then like double Penguin, and you've only played 1 mana and you've already got 2 more beasts in your hand. And so yeah, I'm really excited to try this out in Hunter.
That's cool, man. I didn't even think about it. When I was first looking at Penguin, I was thinking about it. How can I like do a combo priest with basically a 0, right? A 0 card type of thing. And then I think we saw some Reddit posts even today talking about some OTK priests. But yeah, Hunter, that's really cool.
Yeah,
it's very cute.
He's very cute. He's rivaling. He's gonna be rivaling the whatchamacallit, the cat, the
Alley cat, Tabby cat.
Is it a Tabby cat? Well, Tabby cat's the cuter one.
Right? I think Snowflipper Penguin looks kind of evil. I think it looks kind of creepy. It's like creepy cute.
Creepy cute.
Yeah, it's a little like
creepy cute.
Oh, man.
It did. I feel like it gave Devolve because like now you can get this instead of wisps, and I'd much rather have a beast. You know, if I had some kind of, if I was playing a deck that capitalized on beast synergy, that made Devolve a little bit worse maybe. So but anyway, yeah, I like
cool.
Yeah. Okay. Next card, 5 mana druid spell, Spreading Plague. Summon a 1/5 scarab with taunt if your opponent has, I can't even read it, has more minions, cast this again. So it's, if your opponent has 5 minions on the board and you have nothing, you play this and you get 5 1/5 taunts, which is
it's
ridiculous.
like Protect the Kings, but like much better. Like much better. Yeah.
So this card is very kind of situational. If you're ahead on the board, it's useless. If your opponent has nothing on the board, it's useless. But one of Druid's weaknesses, or kind of mid-rangey Druid decks, is that they don't have very good board clears. Like we've often discussed how Swipe just isn't that good in the current meta. And something like Primordial Drake is a lot better. But I'm really hoping that this card could maybe make some kind of mid-range token Druid good. So it's obviously it's very good against decks that J Druid generally isn't very good against. So like Token Shaman, Hunter, Token Druid, that type of thing. This card is amazing against, and it's even better if you're combining it with buffs like Mark of the Lotus and with Power of the Wild. So instead of having 1/5 taunts, you're getting 2/6 or 3/7 taunts But yeah, it's one of those cards where it really depends on the meta. If no one's playing decks that flood the board, this is going to be useless. But if decks that flood the board are common, I think this could be pretty interesting.
So do you think this could be a card that people tech into a counter deck in events if they know they're playing against, I don't know, let's just say it's a shaman that's typically going to play a bunch of minions, and you're just specifically trying to counter that with this card, and then maybe just still having a Savage Roar in it, or they have that one spell that buffs, I think, even taunted minions, right? So can you see that? Can you see it being more specifically as a counterplay, more so than just general ladder?
Yeah, I think potentially, definitely, because it is that insane against token decks that it really could be. Another good thing about it is that it can help set up swipe. So you can, if they have a load of 2 health minions, you can use these to do 1 damage to them all, and then you swipe the next turn to finish them off, or something like that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I agree with what you're saying, because it is one of those cards that's super swingy. It's great against some things and terrible against others. So yeah,
it's actually super good against Shaman, because Shaman have a bunch of benign totems on the board that, I get a 1/5, you get a 0/3. Like, this is way better.
If they devolved all those 1/5s.
Yeah, what are they? That's a good question.
What are they?
Oh, do we know how much mana they are? I mean, I would assume they're 2 mana, because there's a 2 mana 1/5 taunt minion.
Okay.
I guess they're 2 mana.
2 mana 1/5 taunt. That's really great for a 2 mana. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, I actually have that in Jabated section, just because I was a little bit Jabated by it originally.
No, I think it could be a little bit Jabated too. I'm there. I can see the potential, but I can also see it being useless like a lot of the time.
Yeah, kind of the more we're talking about it, the more I'm kind of regretting putting it in this section.
That's exactly the cycle that I went through. It's like, this is great. And then like the more and more I keep thinking about it, I'm like, this is not as good as I thought it was.
It has potential. That's why it's in this section.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. Okay, so we talked about that one already. So the next one I have is Professor Putricide. I love the name and the artwork too, given that he's drinking some green liquid and probably going to be puking it out. It's a 4 mana 5/4 hunter card, legendary. After you play a secret, put a random hunter secret into the battlefield. So I put this card here just because I mean there's like one new hunter secret, which is okay, which is pretty decent, with the cobra. Like basically, if somebody attacks your minion, you get a cobra summoned. But I feel like this card, if there were ever any kind of secrets that gave you value, like card value, kind of like the mage one, like that new mage one gives you like 2 cards right in your hand. If they ever made a hunter card like that, I feel like this card could be really good with Huntress. If you actually made a secret hunter that could have enough legs to finish your opponent, because right now you don't, because there's just like it's a weak early game, and then there's just like this disjunct aspect of it in the mid game. This card would be sensational. Like you're basically getting a free card out of this, like with a secret, right?
Yeah.
And you can't, if you have Huntress obviously on the board, then you get this like super snowballing turn on turn 4. And right now when we play Huntress, or at least in the past when we played Huntress, you get this one turn where you get to play like a couple of secrets, but it's not game changing, right? It's just kind of like, oh yeah, I stalled out for a little bit. Maybe it buys me a turn to maybe get to a card that I haven't drawn yet, or maybe to turn 5 or 6 or whatever. But I think with this, I mean, this just parlays it into another turn, and it gives you even more value. So if the goal is to get to Savannah Highmane in those type of turns, then this card helps you do that for sure. Especially if you get like a freezing trap or anything like that.
I think I like the card simply just for its stats. I think a 4 mana 5/4 is pretty solid, and if it's can generate just 1 extra card for you, like I think it's pretty solid. So yeah,
I think it was a beast. Oh my god.
Yeah, if it was
it would be insane if it was a beast. I think one of the coolest things about it is that if you have if you have this and Cloaked Huntress in your hand and say a couple of secrets, it can make you think about like, okay, I'm playing my Cloaked Huntress on turn 3, but maybe I want to hold a secret back for if Hunter survives, and then I can use it with Future Side on turn 4. That's my favorite thing about it, I think.
Yeah, and you can, I mean, you can save like a couple secrets, right? I mean, you could literally be a secret hunter just with the Christmas tree with this thing.
Just like Hunter on 3. Oh, I don't have any secrets. Bam, Future Side, 4 secrets.
Damn, I don't have any secrets on turn 3. And then all of a sudden you play like 3 of them on turn 4. That would be pretty funny. But yeah, anyways, I thought that was cool. There's actually a couple, I think, Allie, you're about to talk about it. I think there's like 2 or 3 Hunter cards that are pretty interesting. Yet our class rankings, you'll see in a second.
Segue.
Yeah.
So Corpse Widow is a 5 mana 4/6 beast hunter card. Your death rattle cards cost 2 less. I think this card has potential. I really don't know if a death rattle hunter could be good. Maybe it's more that I just think if it eventually gets enough tools, I think that 5 mana 4/6 beast is pretty good. Like the reduction on the death rattle is pretty solid. So I don't really have too much to say about it. I just think if a death rattle hunter exists someday, you'd definitely put this in there. So I like the card. And yeah.
Yeah, I think a death rattle hunter has been close to being I mean, it's been close to being somewhat viable, not like super strong, but like at least viable, right? It's been close for many errors. I mean, errors, like, not errors, but eras, you know what I mean? So, and, like, I think, again, like you said, a card like this does help. I just think there isn't a broken death rattle card outside of Savannah Highmane. Like they started with a broken death rattle card, and ever since then, I feel like the hunter classes paid for that, because the only death rattle cards I feel like they've made, and not counting like Infested Wolf, they're all like 1-drops, and 2-drops, and they do damage, like AoE damage and stuff like that.
They're not powerful enough.
Yeah, they're just not that interesting. So,
with like Princess Huhuran, and so I'm just slowly, I feel like it's gathering more tools to like potentially be viable. But
yeah, I mean, they even had the 1-drop that's like Feign Death, like it's the old Feign Death, but it's like one mana.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, so
I mean, I think it's the same thing as usual for Hunter almost. Like this card is very good in terms of what you're getting for the mana cost, etc. But it's still just like the early game, you're not able to get in a good position to use it enough, I feel.
Yeah.
And they don't have board wipes like to get to this point, so
it's the classic situation.
A little bit off.
Go ahead.
A little bit off topic, but what do you two think of the 4 mana 2/1 hunter card that death rattle deal 2 damage to all enemy minions? What do you guys think of that?
I don't like it. I don't think it's very good. I'd love to be proven otherwise, though, but I just think.
Yeah, I think it's clunky, because it is death rattle. So I mean, your opponent, I feel like, will have time to figure out a very inefficient way for you to do that. Versus you playing potion or something from your hand and doing it. It's just a little bit clunky that way, and that's what I mean. Like all these death rattle cards are just a little bit clunky. Like they don't really match what the hunter does, or what the hunter is good at, and that's been the biggest issue, with having these cards. Like Feign was I was dying to play Feign Death back in the day. It's like I wanted to not Feign Death. I wanted to actually kill stuff because it would have been great. But it was just like they were either at the wrong mana costs. Like it was out of order. Like all my death rattle would be later, and Feign Death's like 3. Now we actually finally have a cheap one, and then it's just not strong enough now. So it's kind of weird. Because we have like the grandmother that's pretty benign outside of her. Like it's like a value death rattle. It's not a it's not like a body that actually threatens immediately. And so we have these and we have another death rattle that does damage across the board. So it just doesn't work with hunter. That's the problem. And even if there was a control hunter, I don't even know if that would be good for a control hunter. So just tiny bit weak, just the way the design.
Yeah, it feels like hunter's more in kind of a slot of not getting ahead early, but kind of maybe playing a couple of death rattles and having kind of tempo swings in the mid game.
Yeah. But to your point, Jackie, with Stampede earlier, maybe this is great with Stampede. You know, like grandmother would be free, right? And you could get you could get a lot of 0 mana cards, right? And maybe maybe that's the key. You know, like Stampede's 2, and then you get a bunch of 0. You get some of those penguins, and you get some 2 manas that are free too. So that could be what they're going for.
Just a side note, you can actually essentially play Wisps of the Old Gods on turn 1. If you do turn 1 Stampede, Snowflip a penguin, and then proceed to get 6 more penguins off of the Stampede, you can fill your board with 1/1s on turn 1.
That's true.
The possibilities are endless.
True. I know. Is this something with Quest Hunter that we're missing?Maybe. You know, you can play all of those ones, right? If you have them, I don't.
Yeah, I think Quest Hunter has a little. Well, I think it has more potential than it did in the last expansion, anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyways, moving on. Let's talk Eternal Servitude.
Yes, Eternal Servitude. It's a 4 mana priest spell. Discover a friendly minion that died this game and then summon it. I think Resurrect Priest had a little bit of its time to shine at one point, and I feel like this card could potentially help it out. And I also just think it's a powerful effect in itself. Like if you're playing Resurrect Priest, what's that 4/7 called?
Injured Blade Master.
Injured Blade Master.
Injured Blade Master, yeah. So you could be, you could do the whole classic Resurrect Priest. I think it's got potential.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's it definitely allows you to navigate the Doomsayers. Whenever you play them early, in that type of So that's definitely really nice with the Discover. I wish it was I wish it was just like a better Onyx Bishop, where I think right now it's equal to Onyx Bishop. Just
I would agree with that. I think
there's pros and cons of both, and so
the Discover is a little bit more powerful though, right?
Yeah, if you play late game, I mean, like if we can get like another Lyra, if we can, I'm trying to think of in the Injured Blade Master, like you said, like kind of early game.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things about this card is that it's kind of like Onyx Bishop. You're very happy to play on turn 5 because it's a great tempo play, whereas this is a 4-drop that you're probably more likely to want to play later in the game rather than on turn 4, because you're not going to have had that many strong things die yet, other than Blade Master.
Yeah, that's a good point. So then maybe it's not good enough for Resurrect Priest.
Well, the Discover's huge. I mean, the Discover is
the Discover's fantastic. So maybe it's just a good control card potentially.
Could be. Or for death rattles, or I don't know. If you have a death rattle priest, maybe you want to pick certain death rattles, that sort of thing. Okay, let's see. What's the next one? I think Jackie?
Lillian Voss, 4 mana 4/5 rogue legendary. Replace spells in your hand with random spells from your opponent's class. So this is fantastic for a Burgle Rogue type deck. And this is the perfect card. Ethereal Peddler. Ethereal Peddler has been a card that has been... It's always been a good card, but that Burgle Rogue hasn't quite been good enough for it to be worth playing. This card is absolutely bonkers with Ethereal Peddler.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
that's so true, actually. I didn't
kind
think
of
that.
Like, if a Peddler Rogue was going to be viable, this could maybe be the card to help push it. Another way you can use this is with if you have a lot of coins or Razor Petals. If you're playing that type of rogue, then this can be really good at changing them into much more higher value spells to help you kind of win control matchups. So yeah, I love this card.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun too. These are the type of cards I love to play just to see what happens. Whenever I replace them all. But the Ethereal Peddlers, that's a great point, because most of the time with Ethereal Peddler, I felt like you were just getting one card discounted. So it was just. It's still good value. I mean, it's a 5/6 body, which is already good for a 5-drop, and then you just get that extra discount every once, even half the time. It's great. But this, you could get 2. I think you would get 1 on average, 1+ on average, and maybe even close to 2 if you're just super adept at playing a deck like this.
Yeah.
It's a Yeti. I like stats.
Yeah. Yeti's the standard still.
Yeti's the standard. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree though. It's definitely a fun card. I don't know how strong it is, but I'm excited to try it out at least.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. The next thing. Oh, I have something here. Given that Jackie had the Sarnite, So Corpse Taker, yeah. So this is
Wow.
Yeah, so Corpse Taker. This is a 4 mana. Another thing I have to say too, just about this set. I feel like the neutral cards are really good. I mean, I feel like their neutral cards are actually better than the class cards.
I agree.
I agree with you, actually.
I totally agree. 100%.
Yeah, I've never felt that way, but in this particular set, it's been that way. And the Corpse Taker, it's a 4 mana epic card, 3/3. And this is one of those like smorgasbord of different things you can maybe get. Battlecry, gain taunt if your deck has a taunt minion, and then repeat the same thing if it has Divine Shield, Lifesteal, or Wind Fury. So this card is more of like a deck building type of card, and the fact that you can run 2 of them, I think, is even better in terms of like committing a full deck towards it. Is it powerful enough to actually be like a game winning type of card? No, but it's a type of deck that you could easily fill these requirements and get all of those things. For instance, you just play Alliestrasza and you've got 3 of those things. You know what I mean? Like
Easy.
Yeah, you have it easy, right? So, Lifesteal is just one extra thing. So, anyways, I just think generally this thing will have Divine Shield and Taunt and Wind Fury on it. So, I guess how do you judge a card that has that? For 4 mana. For me, I think that's pretty good. Like,
I think I've always thought that this card was strong. I think it'd be stronger if it also got charged. That'd be strong.
Why don't we just give it poison
I'm so greedy.
while we're at it?
Yeah, but I think if you're running a shaman deck with Alliestrasza or a paladin deck with Burn Bristle and Tyrion and all that good stuff, I just think it. And you're right, you can run 2 of them. I don't know, like it depends what other slot it'd be taking up in those decks, but I think that it's good enough to put in them. If the
I'm gonna be throwing this straight in my Handbuff Paladin, and I'm even gonna put Young Dragonhawk in my Handbuff Paladin just so I get the Wind Fury.
Oh, no, I don't know about that.
Wacky Jacky.
Yeah, Wacky Jacky, exactly.
But overall, I think it's good.
Yeah, it's great value. It's just it might not be like specifically situated for like certain decks. But the next thing I have is a Priest card. Yay! So this is one of those cards that I was talking about earlier that have infinite potential value. Like the text on it is potentially infinite, and Shadow Ascendant's one of those. And right off the bat, you look at it, and actually, it took me a second pass of the cards to actually see this card. And so it's a 2 mana common card, 2/2. At the end of your turn, give another random friendly minion 1/1. And so I was like, it's so situational, whatever, right? But then I started thinking about just my typical turn 1s and turn 2s, and just like my first 2 turns as priest. And they're clerics, and there are elementals, and if either of those type of cards had got buffed 1/1, that'd be crazy good. Like when my clerics actually do get buffed 1/1, it's super good, especially if you get it on turn 2. Like it's buffed to 2/4. That 2/4 is sticking around forever, right? Like for a good 2 turns or something like that. So I think that the Shadow Ascendant is just really great for setting up, just a Talon Priest great turn, or just those turns 3s and 4s where priests struggled a little bit in there. They'd have to play Powered Shield. You'd have to make these certain plays, or have to have these certain cards in your hand to begin with. I think Shadow Ascendant just helps with that situation, and they have to kill that. They have to kill Shadow Ascendant. So to have to sacrifice a 2/2 and getting and most likely buffing a card that has a lot of value to parlay off of with future turns, I think it's a really good card.
Could we almost see I don't know, it sort of feels like a minion centric priest is almost viable, like with Happy Ghoul and I mean Cabal Talon Priest, like just as the buff card, like it sort of feels like you can make like a minion priest deck, like maybe a mid-rangey sort of fast tempo, getting minions on the board type of deck. I think it's interesting. You'd 100% if you're going that route, put this card in. Like I do think this card's actually really strong.
I think you're onto something there, and as long as I think it still requires like a Divine Shield Inner Fire finish. You still have to have some kind of burst finish. But like if a priest can just keep a minion on the board, I mean that's great. We've all played priest a ton. Value. Yeah, I mean, so if those two cards you mentioned help with that, then yeah, I mean you could be talking about more of a mid-range. I don't know if it's tempo priest, but maybe more tempo-ish. Yeah, that's for sure. I don't know. Maybe Jackie, you're tempo priest. Like, what if you had some buffs?
Yeah, I think I'd definitely put this in. Yeah, it'd be great in it.
That'd be totally cool. Yeah. Okay, what we got next? Another priest card.
Yes, I'm I'm curious to see if you guys think this one is good. It's a 9-mana obsidian statue, a priest card, taunt, lifesteal, and death rattle. Destroy a random enemy minion, and it's a 4/8. So I know it's kind of clunky and expensive, but if you're playing an Azoth priest deck, I think that taunts that have death rattle are always super important because oftentimes when you go to drop your N'Zoth on turn 10, you could potentially be in a compromised position because it's late in the game. So anytime, like that's why people were running the 2/3. What's that thing called? The Infested Tauren. Like I think that card's terrible, but people still run it just to have like a taunt death rattle in an Azoth deck. So I do think that this, I mean, obviously Primordial Drake is cheaper and it has the same stats, but I think the fact that it has taunt and lifesteal and will go in an Azoth deck, I think it was one of the cards I'm most excited for, and I like it a lot, honestly. So I'm curious what you guys have to say.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. I think it's very, very powerful. And the combination of taunt and lifesteal is, I think it's pretty easy to underestimate it. Yeah. But yeah, I think it's very strong. I don't think the destroying a random enemy minion is kind of the important part of the card.
It's average.
Even though it could sometimes do something great.
Yeah, it can be sweet sometimes.
I actually think it's relevant against control decks, like the destroy random enemy minion. So because when you're comparing it to the Drake, that's what you're talking about. I think you're talking about one card that's really good against aggro and more of a like a wide type of deck from your opponent, and then this card has a little bit of precautions like taunt to deal with that in lifesteal too, but the destroy random minion is more so for decks that only have like 1 or 2 minions on the board, like a control deck, right? So like if you're playing a quest warrior or something like that, this would be great, for that, more so than a Drake. So yeah, I think this card's quite good too. It almost made my list actually. I dropped it just because you put it on there.
Cool. All right. Yeah. Good. I'm glad you guys sort of agree with me.
Yeah, I overlooked this one too. Like it took me a second pass to actually really think about this card. It's still expensive at 9, but
that's the downfalls. It's just expensive. You can't really do anything else with it because of that annoying like 9-mana slot. But
you're getting 8 heal from it. That's how I think of it. It's like nobody's gonna kill it in one shot. It's a 4/8, right? So it's really hard to kill.
Unless they're fireballing it or something, but. At least they're not fireballing your face, at least. Sure, yeah.
Sure. Okay, next up we've got Archbishop
Benedict. The priest legendary, 7-mana 4/6. Battlecry, shuffle a copy of your opponent's deck into your deck. Mr. Steal Your Deck.
Mr. Steal Your
This card, I think a lot of people like instantly thought this card and thought, this card's trash. This card is terrible. It's just Malkazar all over again.
No.
And I kind of thought that as well. I was like, what the hell is this? But the reason I put it in this section is not because I think it's going to be insane or anything, but because I think it allows you to build priest in a completely different way. I think its effect is so crazy that you can potentially in priest not have to put any anti-control decks in any anti-control cards in your deck at all, and literally just have a deck that is purely focused against aggro, and then this card alone could potentially win you control decks just by win you control matchups just by stealing your opponent's deck. So I think it could potentially bring out a new way of playing priest, although it's not just a card you're just gonna
wouldn't it be
slam it every day.
I mean I think those are cool. I mean, that's really cool. Would it be similar to playing a what's the warlock card where you totally swap classes?
Renounced Darkness?
Yeah, Renounced Darkness. Is it kind of like that?
Kind of, but with Renounced Darkness, you're often getting a load of bad cards, whereas if you stealing your opponent's deck, you're going to have all the synergies that they've got in their deck, and
True.
generally better cards. Yeah.
You'd probably need card draw though. That's probably something I would
you have
put
to play
heavy.
Maybe like code like oracles or stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Ooh.
That sounds fun, man.
That
That sounds fun. I think it's in my favorite. Yeah, it's one of my favorite cards actually because it sounds like super fun, crazy fun.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Okay. What do I have here for my last?
Crypt Lord.
Oh yeah, Crypt Lord. This is the last thing I added, like out of last minute. So Crypt Lord. It is a 3-mana druid card. It's a 1/6 common taunt. After you summon a minion, gain +1 health. So I totally missed. Like I didn't look at. It took me like 4 times probably before I saw this card actually. And the reason I put it on here is just because I think that the card itself, it's pretty comparable to like Tar Creeper, right? Like I think you would probably try to decide whether to put this card or not. And I'm not saying it's necessarily better than Tar Creeper either, but I think it functions similar in the fact that it's not that threatening on your turn, or it's not that threatening anytime actually, just because it doesn't change to a 3 attack. But I think the fact that you can continue to increase the health, where you can't do that with, it's not like a priest where you can heal it or anything. You're basically healing this card like over and over and over again as long as it lives. And there are cards that summon multiple minions, as a druid. So let's just say we're talking about, I don't know, just like Wisps of the Old Gods or something like that, right? And you summon all these wisps, right? And you're putting this giant taunt in front of all of those small things. And if you add one of these guys, and instead of your Tar Creeper in, say, your Savage Roar druid, your token druid or whatever, then it functions a little bit different. Like it actually has potential for a longer period of defending your tiny minions for your potential huge burst finish, right? So, anyways, I thought that was an interesting element that was different than what exists right now.
I've been surprised at how well Tar Creeper has worked in aggro druid. Like I think it's really good in aggro druid. Like you can protect your fledgling.
Fledgling
and you can
too. I forgot.
Yeah, you can buff them up. So honestly, like when I see this card, I just think of another Tar Creeper for an aggro druid. This because you're often generating so many little small minions, and you can protect your fledglings and stuff like that. I don't know if it's better than Tar Creeper, so I guess you'd probably play one or the other.
It's one of those things where you have to decide, do you really care if you remove those minions that crash into Tar Creeper versus you just care about what you're defending? Like you just protecting these things, right?
Yeah.
So
I mean, I definitely think this could definitely be good in aggro druid, because when people innovate fledgling turn 1 and it snowballs, this could have an almost similar effect. You innovate this turn 1 and then every turn onwards you're just playing minions, and so his health is just getting out of
it's
reach.
one of these infinite things again, right? It's just infinite value if it just lives. So
keep buffing it up too, because obviously the one attack isn't strong, but it doesn't take long to start buffing it up. So
God,
I think it's good.
You could put Mark on it. That'd be freaking crazy good. If it was beast too, and then you ward in it too. Holy crap!
Thank goodness.
Yeah, I know, right? That'd be insane. Okay, let's see. Moving along, we got our debated list here. So I think debated has some overlap, so we can probably cruise through this. So we talked about that first one. Oh, you have Shadowblade on here. Cool.
Yeah, I do have Shadowblade. So I originally thought that Shadowblade was very strong. And now after doing research on the internet and hearing different people talk about it, I don't think it's as good as some people thought it was going to be. Mm-hmm. I think that Deadly Poison is stronger. I think that if the effect was your hero is immune when it's equipped, actually maybe that'd just be too good. It'd be better. The fact that it's just the battle cry, I think, is what I don't like about it. So yeah, I originally started out thinking it was going to be super strong, but now I just don't think it will be.
It's kind of similar to the Apprentice, right? Like in a way, except for it's a weapon versus a body. What's it called? It's the Apprentice, right?
No, it's
Violet Illusionist.
But that's in immune whenever the entire turns. This battle cry,
Just
so
that
it's
one
you're
turn,
only immune this one turn. I think that's my biggest issue with it.
Yeah, I think my biggest issue with it is probably because a lot of the time on Rogue, you're just using your dagger on turn 2, and so it doesn't really make much sense to kind of dagger and then equip this the turn after. But yeah, I see what you're saying.
I feel like turn 3 too. There's better things. Like if you already have your weapon equipped from 2, like you're dropping Shaku or clearing something with your SI agent. I guess, I mean, obviously you could clear something with this as opposed to the SI, but in general, I feel like I'd rather have a 3/3 on the board, you know? So,
yeah, the way you're describing it, it's just a Fiery War Axe where you just don't lose health.
Eagle Horn Bow, really.
Right? So it's like Eagle Horn Bow. But even just like best case, right? It's a War Axe, which are 2 mana, but the only difference is you don't lose health on the first whatever you remove. So that's definitely underwhelming. Like if you think of it like that.
So I did think it was good.
Okay.
But changed my mind.
Cool. The next thing me and you had, Jackie, which was
Hadronox. I mean, it's 9 mana 3/7 beast, death rattle, summon all your taunt minions that died this game. My problem with this card is that obviously it's a death rattle instead of a battle cry. So you're not instantly getting the value out of it. And also the fact it has 7 health makes it actually pretty damn tricky to kill off. And so you're gonna be playing this, it's so slow to play it, and you're like, I need to kill it off and get the death rattle, and then you're just gonna die.
I was surprised it wasn't a taunt. Like I thought this was a taunt originally when I looked at it, and then I looked at it again, I'm like, oh, this is not even taunt. This is crazy.
I mean, I think if it was a taunt, it would the difference it would make would be so insane. I think it would almost be too strong if it was a taunt. But
maybe it'd be 10 mana if it was a taunt, potentially. Like,
remember when Allie, you were asking whether Black Knight would be played? Absolutely, Black Knight's going to be played.
Yeah.
I mean, I was already playing it some towards the end of this meta, so this is insane how much taunt's going to be around.
For sure.
All right.
No, I'm with you guys though. Underwhelming.
Yeah.
My next card was Sindragosa, the 8 mana 8/8 dragon. It's my problem with it is it's just a bunch of value. It's just like Medivh is so much better than Mage right now.
Yeah. It's for the funsies, man. This one. Get some random legendaries, you know.
I do agree with you. Like this is actually in one of my favorite lists because I just think it's super fun, and I'm really excited to play it with the Jaina Death Knight. Like, you know, you get a legendary, make a 3/6. Like it's flashy. It's a flashy card. That's what I like to to call it. But in actuality, I do think the Medivh route, if you're going the whole control mage, is probably stronger. No, it definitely is. So I agree with you. It's just I still like it. So.
Okay, let's see. The next 2 we've done from me. So, Howling Commander. That's a cool artwork, man.
That is actually cool.
He has a really cool artwork. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a 3 mana 2/2 Paladin card. Draw a Divine Shield minion from your deck. That's its battle cry. I'm not sure if other people have been thinking that this is good. I just, in general, I don't think you'd run it. Like, I obviously you could, get your Tyrion or something. I guess it depends on what kind of deck you're playing, but overall, I just don't think it's like a 3 mana 2/2 just doesn't seem worth it to me. That's just my opinion. So.
Yeah, I agree. It's slightly underwhelming.
Yeah.
There's very few 3 mana 2/2s we play. We play Courier just because we play Kazakus.
Courier's probably the best example.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's about the only
And Courier's just better. So.
Yeah.
So next card is a 2 mana warrior card, Dead Man's Hand. Shuffle a copy of your hand into your deck.
So that's a copy, right? Like you don't actually shuffle your hand.
It's a copy, so you can actually do this like infinitely.
Yeah. So okay, yeah. I mean,
I don't know.
I didn't really understand the why the card exists outside of just preventing fatigue. Like that's
right. Yeah, I just don't think it's good enough to even really make the whole fatigue deck. I mean, I don't know. I just really, it doesn't stream. Like when I first saw it, I was like, oh wow, you can go infinite and you can't fatigue, and like you can battle Jade Druids maybe, but not really.
Still
not really.
Yeah.
Still not. No matter how many brawls you shuffle back, you're still not.
I mean,
well,
you can play the new
card.
text drop that gets rid of Jade Idol.
Yeah, there's a card that I had at the end there.
That's a different story. That's a different story. But no, overall, I just think it's. I wouldn't play it.
Yeah, I don't love. Part of me likes the card. Part of me just hates the fact that again, fatigue is just being like the whipping, like the whipping board for what you as an archetype. Like they just don't want you to play fatigue, and that sucks because fatigue was always something that was already kind of hard. And I'm not talking about like your crazy control warrior that ends up just going into fatigue because of that, but just like the rogue fatigue decks and things like that, that was always very original, and a lot of people love to watch that on streams, and I feel like just getting rid of it is such a drastic thing, and they've done it once already with Jade Idol, and now they're essentially doing it again with this card, so it's kind of a bummer.
Yeah, I mean, I think the one thing I do like about this card is that it enables you to play some kind of control warrior with just a ton of draw. You can play control warrior with as much draw as you like. You don't need to be worried about going to fatigue against other decks. You can just play a bunch of removal and play maybe Arcane Giant or Release and keep putting these Arcane Giants back in your deck, and the rest of your deck is just draw.
That was like one of the first things I was gonna do with this deck.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's like if this card is gonna work, I think that'd be the way to make it work. But yeah.
So anyways, next thing is our first Death Knight card. Yeah.
Valera the Hollow. Yeah.
It's in this card is section.
Yeah, so you get stealth for 1 turn, which is obviously insane in Rogue. Like to be able to have stealth in Rogue, it's like pretty insane. The problem I have with this card is that the turn after you play this, you've got to be doing some pretty big stuff for it to be worth playing. Your opponent is going to, you're giving your opponent a turn to do what they like. They're almost definitely going to be flooding the board and trying to apply a lot of pressure, and you're going to have to deal with that. So I feel like unless you're playing Vanish and you can actually remove everything your opponent just played, you're going to be under so much pressure.
Yeah, there's basically 2 turns of doing nothing. Yeah, I know what you mean. That's rough. And the hero power isn't like something that gives you insane value right away either. It's more of a card value type of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's insane with like Arcane Giant, but with most other things, it's just it's just okay and gets better the more turns you survive for. I mean, maybe you could even play like Quest Rogue, and this might be the best way of playing that because that naturally plays Vanish in. And I almost feel like for this to be good, you're gonna have to play Vanish. That's how I feel.
Holy smokes! Yeah.
I think the hero power. Well, we're gonna talk about hero power, so I won't harbor on it. But I do think that the hero power is strong. I guess it's just with being 9 mana. I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
I don't know. Actually, you've changed my opinion there a little bit. I thought it.
It's the worst Death Knight. I think it's the worst Death Knight.
You think? I would agree. I think it's one of the worst.
The Warlock's the Warlock's pretty bad too, but this one I feel like the
what? Warlock's great.
Wait, which one? Wait, which Death?
Well, we'll talk about
maybe I'm confusing the Warlock Death Knight with something else. But that's the discard one, right?
No.
Well, okay, I'm thinking of something else then. Never mind.
But yeah, no, I see what you guys. Just the follow up after becoming Valera the Hollow. It's just I don't know if it's good enough. Yeah, agreed.
Okay. Oh, the Death Knight. Yeah, I remember the Warlock Death Knight now. Yeah. Okay. That one's not bad at all. Okay, Arthas, the cute dog, the cute ghost dog.
Yeah, so at first I was comparing this to Kazakus, like it's a 4 mana, pretty understated minion, and the turn after you do something really good. But the problem is the inconsistency of the Death Knight cards. It's not like the Lich King where it has Taunt and it's a solid body that's also pretty defensive.
Yeah,
it's just a 2/2, and if you get a Death Knight card that doesn't fit your situation, then you're going to lose a lot of tempo and could be in a pretty tricky spot. So I think this is going to be good in a control, like not N'Zoth decks. Like you probably can play this in a Quest Priest, N'Zoth Paladin, that type of thing. I think you'll play this, but it's not good enough to kind of see play all over the place. which kind of, I think when people first saw it, they were like, "Oh, Arthas, this is great," and I love it. I love the picture and the animation and everything, but I think it's just slightly underwhelming to play in a variety of stuff. I think it'll be only in very specific decks.
Okay. Next thing I have is Icebreaker. It's a 3-mana 1/3 shaman weapon rare. I think I mentioned it before, but destroy and a frozen enemy when. Let me see. Gosh, I have to bring it up again. It's destroy any frozen minion damaged by this. Okay, so you basically swing into anything frozen and then it'll destroy it, right? Yeah, for me, it's like it sounds awesome, right? To be able to remove as Shaman, but the thing is like right now, Shaman has the capability of healing a bunch, but I feel like you don't want to have to spend or slots to do that. Or at least you want to spend as few as slots to do that as a Shaman. So with Icebreaker, I mean, if you are getting the value from Icebreaker, you're taking a lot of damage, like to your face.
Oh yeah, sure.
And you know, Shaman generally gets worn down. You know, like the way you beat Shaman is to put it in range of finishing. You know, before the Shaman can, you know, just burst you with Bloodlust and just filling the board. So I feel like a card like this just puts you in that kind of position even sooner. And then if you have to add heals, and all of a sudden you're going down that control Shaman route, and then it's that same conversation we had before, which is like, how do you win? You know, like how do you win as a Shaman at that point? So
I think
yeah,
my issue with it is just this whole Shaman freeze in general. Like a 3-mana 1/3 is bad, and if I just don't think the Shaman or free Shaman archetype is strong enough. So I agree.
Yeah.
Debated.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, move on. The next one we got is
Spectral Pillager. Oh, sorry.
Pillager.
Oh,
no,
sorry.
Spectral Pillager. You're right.
Yeah. So Spectral Pillager is a 6-mana 5/5 rogue card combo. Deal damage equal to the number of other cards you've played this turn. I just think it's too expensive. I think that. Yeah, I want it to be good because I think it's cool. You get a body, and you know it's like body and damage, kind of like a Firelands or something. But I just think it's too expensive, and you won't get enough damage out of it as much as you need. And yeah, I wanted it to be good.
Even if you play 3 cards and then play this, it's still not as good as Fire Elemental.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
totally.
exactly,
Yeah, 100%.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I tried thinking about this card a lot, and I couldn't figure out the best way to play it. And especially, you have to give up all these cards to just accomplish.
In order to just get it off.
I know, and you could be drawing cards with those cards, you know, or doing something different with it. So yeah, I totally agree with that.
Okay,
Treachery. Yes, this is
3-mana Warlock spell. Choose a friendly minion. Your opponent gains control of it. So I think people were getting a bit overhyped about this and using it with like Doomsayer. And there's also the 2/2, which summons a 5/5 and has a death rattle. Give your opponent a 5/5, and you can like treachery the 2/2, and then you can end up getting a 5/5.
Yeah.
But I think that's way too clunky. And in terms of using treachery with Doomsayer, you don't get the kind of tempo advantage because the Doomsayer is going off at the start of their turn. So you give them the Doomsayer, and you can't play anything else because the Doomsayer is going to go off on their turn.
Corrupting Mist. Yeah,
and,
it's like,
and then they can just put stuff on the board again.
Yeah.
But also, I would rather play the 2-mana spell damage Divine Shield minion with Defile rather than Treachery with Doomsayer. Like in terms of a 2 damage AoE combo, Treachery is only going to be good with Doomsayer in your deck, whereas Defile and the spell damage minion can have multiple uses. And yeah, I would rather use that 2-card combo rather than this and Doomsayer.
Are there any other instances you'd want to give your opponent?
I tried to think of it.
Corrupted
I really
did.
Taking Abomination.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true. Okay, not enough scenarios that this card would be good. So.
Yep.
All right. Lastly, I've got the card a lot of people were talking about, which was, or at least one point, Skulking Geist. So this is the Kill Jade Druid card, and it's a 6-mana common card epic. 4 attack, 6 health, battlecry, destroy all 1-cost spells in both hands in deck. So in your hand too. And I don't know what you guys think about this card, but you know, I think absolutely, it's good against Jade Druid. but I think it's not that good against anything else. Like it might be okay against Hunter too, or not, sorry, Hunter, but Warrior too. But for as much I thought it was getting a lot of hype. Yeah, Rogue. I guess Rogue would be pretty
Hallucination.
decent too. I mean, does it destroy one cost spells if it's getting discounted too? Like if a priest has an elemental? Or is it just like base cost? Like I wasn't sure like exactly how that worked.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I would imagine it's just one cost
Base, yeah.
spells.
Yeah. So
that would be my guess.
I think this card is like not terrible or bad. It's just I think that a lot of people think this card is awesome and great. And I think some people will use it against Jade Idol in specific situations like events and things like that. But I feel like just Jade Idol might just drop off a little bit by itself, and you don't even have a need to even play this card.
Yeah.
It
is base cost, by the way.
Oh, it's base cost? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you guys think?
I guess it's decent enough that if you are playing something like Control Priest and you just don't have a shot against Jade Druids, you'd run it in there,
Yeah.
So I do think it serves a purpose and it's good, but I feel like after a certain point, you're right. Maybe Jades will just die out if this card is prevalent enough, and then people won't run it, and then people will play Jade again. I'm not really sure. I don't know how I feel about hate cards sometimes. Like, they specifically print something just to kill, fix a mistake kind of thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Jackie, what do you think?
I think it is a hate card, right? I mean, do you guys
it's
interpret it as a
definitely
hate card?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think so.
I'm pretty sure I had a nightmare where I was playing Secret Paladin and I was about to play my Mysterious Challenger, and then my opponent played this card and removed all of my secrets, and I had to play it.
That would suck. Yeah, it's a Secret Paladin hate card, Jackie. That's what it is. That's what it is. They did it for the Secret Paladin 2 years later.
But no, I agree with Allie. I think it's only going to be used in decks where they can't really beat Jade Druid without this.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
You guys think Jade Druid's still going to be popular?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, see, okay, this is maybe going off on a little mini tangent. A lot of people are like, oh, I don't think aggro will be as strong, but I still think it will. Like, I don't know. I think aggro is still going to have a place in the meta, but I do think that a lot of more control decks are going to be played. And so if there really are, a lot of control priests, which I do think there will be, I'm sure we will see it just as a tech card, basically.
Yeah, I feel like Jade Druid will subside, and just because of fear of this card, and like you guys said, it's totally things that are tech. It's there to control like the prevalence of Jade Druid, and by itself, I think just the fear of it will probably have the ladder meta go away from it a bit. And there's other things to do with Druid too right now, so it's I think we'll see that, at least in the beginning. I think people will play this card. I put this in here just because I think it might be just overly hyped, at least maybe when it first. I don't know because I haven't been watching, but I figured maybe this card would be overly hyped.
Right.
Okay, let's get into some. Oh, it's just our favorite cards, just maybe real quick. So we've been playing, spending some time. So, Allie.
Hold on, I gotta pull this up here.
Syndragosa.
Syndragosa. Yeah, all right. So we've already talked about Syndragosa. I don't know. It's a dragon, and
it's totally fun.
It's fun. It's gonna go. I think we'll talk about that later, but it'll go well in the Death Knight Jaina deck, and so I'm excited. It's a dragon and it's legendary, so it's perfect.
Yeah.
So moving on. Oh, sorry. This is the section where we're talking about our favorite cards. Just kidding.
Dying to try these. That's what I call it. Yeah.
Frostlich Jaina is actually my favorite card from the expansion thus far. I can't really pinpoint it. Water Elemental has always been one of my favorite cards.
Okay.
And I loved it in Tempo Mage, and so I think playing a control style of mage that doesn't necessarily rely on burn to end the game, it's a little bit more minion centric. It like you could put other elementals in the deck. This will be my first deck that I craft. I most likely.
Yeah,
So,
and just
yeah,
in
definitely.
case you guys don't know what
Sorry.
the Jaina is, it's Battlecry summon a 3/6 water elemental, and your elementals have lifesteal this game, so it's a great way to continue to heal your mage, which healing has always been a little interesting with mage. I still think this is a sign that Ice Block's going to be going away soon.
Yeah,
So,
right. I know.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I think that card, it's Frostlich Jaina. I can't really see it being played much like competitively. But if Ice Block went away, then I think that could completely change.
Yeah.
Totally.
No, it's definitely something I agree with you there. I don't know if it's gonna. I actually don't think it will be played competitively. I just think it's gonna be fun.
Yeah. One of mine's Deathstalker Rexar.
Yeah.
I mean, literally just, I can't wait to get zombies in. I'm just combining all these things together.
We built our own zombies last time, so.
Yeah, that's true.
I really can't wait. I think a lot of people are looking forward to the zombies. It's a really cool hero power.
Yeah.
And another one, Blackguard, the 6-mana 3/9 priest epic. Whenever your hero is healed, deal that much damage to a random enemy minion.
Yeah, Paladin.
This card seems crazy. Like, at first, it's got 9 health. And with all the kind of lifesteal and health gain things in Paladin, like Burn Bristle, True Silver, Raglight Lord, Leon Hands, etc., this card could be really good. The only issue with it is that it's in the same mana slot as Spite Ridge Steed, which is obviously ridiculously powerful. But this is definitely one of my favorite cards of the set.
Yeah. I mean, I think if you play Ivory Knight and stuff, you'd play this card instead.
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, I almost put this card on one of my lists, but I just wasn't sure. Again, it's like susceptible to like Shadow Word Pain just because of the body itself, but also I don't know. I know that Paladin's going to be great at surviving. I just don't know how Paladin's going to win. It's like, again, like I'm not clear on it yet. I mean, I think that it could be buffing. It could be, I don't know if Dino's actually going to be played or not. But some of these buffs I think are going to end up being the way that they end up winning. And I think if that's the case, then yeah, this card's going to be, I think, exceptional at keeping them alive and just controlling the board to a bit. Because equalities, like, would you ever get rid of any of the current removal with some of the newer ones? Because we've got new humilities, basically, right? We got all kinds of ways to shrink minions now, and we still have equality consecrate. So, like, Paladin is so amazing at removing and controlling boards.
Yeah, I mean, I think the current removal you've got in Control Paladin is so good. Obviously, Dark Conviction, which is another one on my list here, the 2 mana set a minion's attack and health to 3 is really nice, like Older Man without the body. But I think it's much more likely to see play in an aggressive Paladin deck that plays things like Squires and Righteous Protectors and maybe even Egg. So you have the flexibility to either shrink an enemy minion or buff your own minion. Right. I think that's where I would play this card.
Okay, cool. Let's see. The next thing you have is, Embrace Darkness.
Oh yeah, just briefly, this card. I think this is another one that people might have underestimated a bit. So it's choose an enemy minion at the start of your turn, gain control of it. So it's like a 6-mana mind control, but you don't instantly get the minion. You get the minion next turn, and it's because Priest has lots of heal and lots of defensive tools. A lot of the time, you're not as worried about taking the damage that you're going to be taking as you would in other classes.
Yeah.
So, and this is amazing in things like Spite Ridge Steed. You put in your Spite Ridge Steed, you use this, bam, that's just game over. Like, I think this card is
early mind control, basically.
Yeah.
And they can't kill it usually. If you have an empty board, especially. Yeah.
Also one of my favorite cards, but I left it out. So.
Priest, they're doing some good things with Priest. For sure. I mean, I feel like it's like iterating up with Priest, but I've actually appreciated them iterating up with Priest instead of just like sudden crazy like they did with the dragons for a little bit.
Another thing that Vaichang has pointed out in chat is that it deals with 4 attack minions.
Yes, that's true.
Very true.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd totally be using it on Drakes and obviously the Obsidian too. Huge, definitely great. Mine I actually added Deathstalker Anduin on here, and mostly because, I mean, it's obviously great for just removal. Like I think 5 and up is just given turn 8, it's going to be very relevant, at least relevant for removing something hugely threatening. It might not remove the whole board, but it'll remove the things that actually you care the most about. And then on top of that, you get the hero power, which I think the hero power is actually very good for priest. So yeah, that's kind of one of the things I want to try out really, really quickly or really, really soon. And then the next thing I have, or actually, what do you guys think of that before
I would say especially Kazakus Priest, the hero power is nuts when you've played Raza and it's 0 mana and you can just bam, shadow.
That's crazy, man. Totally crazy.
No, I definitely think he's one of the stronger Death Knights. Another want to instacraft with a Death Knight Priest for sure.
Okay, the next one I have is more of like, it might be like one of the cards I just like for a day or two, but it's just on my list just for the sake of conversation. It's a 6 mana 6/6 Furnace Fire Colossus epic, and Battlecry, discard all weapons from your hand and gain their stats. So I just want to build like a warrior that has like every single weapon I could possibly have, and then just like throw a couple of these guys down and see what kind of big numbers I can put on it and see if people can deal with it, because it'd be interesting to see. There's actually, there's a few classes that do struggle against big minions, and like you just throw that down, like it'd be kind of interesting to see what happens. So I
think it's fun. It's interesting. I think it's probably a little too easily removed by the majority of people, but in general, I think it's fun. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's I think again, like what I was saying with the other warrior card, the pirate card, is that I like this type of text with the weapons, because some of the weapons, like Fiery War Axe, for instance, right? They're very inconsequential at the end. Like they almost have 0 value for warriors, control warriors, and things like that at the end. So if you can actually convert that into a buff on a late game minion instead, I like the flexibility aspect to that, and at least with the weapons. Not to say that this is strong enough that I would play it like in a control warrior, but the concept itself is something that I definitely appreciate. I definitely like the fact that they're, again, like having multi-purpose for some of the cards and elements of the game. That's really, really cool. Okay, the next one, actually, both of you guys have on it. It's the Despicable Dreadlord.
Yes. The 5 mana 4/5 demon. At the end of your turn, deal 1 damage to all enemy minions. I love this card. I don't know. I want to play a demon lock so bad, and I just feel like you definitely put this in a demon lock, to help against aggro or token decks or something. And a 4/5 is a relatively solid body. It's a demon. I really, really like this card.
Yeah, I think I agree. Like in terms of the new Warlock Death Knight, where you're summoning all your demons, there aren't that many good demons to bring back. Whereas
I've tried to make demon decks. Yeah.
This is a great demon.
Exactly.
Good.
Let's see. The last thing I have is a 5 mana 5/5 dragon. That's a neutral common card. At the end of your turn, give another random friendly minion +3 attack. Nothing's too spectacular about this, but I think being able to give +3 attack to minions in certain classes is really good. So like a Shaman Totem, for instance, or a Priest, any of the kind of earlier minions. Again, like if you can put this down, it fits well in a dragon deck. But there's not many dragons right now, so just like me and you at Allie, I think love Dragon Priest. So like I just like dragons. So like having an extra dragon to like to be able to snag, and then so I think there is utility to making certain minions that have text value but weak bodies, and just giving them some kind of relevance to the board.
I want to it's a dragon. I want to like this card more than I do actually. Like my issue with it is that if we're playing Dragon Priest, like I wouldn't play this over Operative ever, and I don't think you'd run it coupled with Operative. I think that's too clunky. So, but I do like it if you were trying to make a dragon mage where you can't run Operative or something. I think you definitely put this in. And a 5 mana 5/5 solid, and I definitely think that the end of turn effect is solid as well. So I like it, But if we're just speaking in terms of like the strongest dragon deck, which would be priest, I wouldn't put him in dragon priest.
Yeah, it's definitely better in, well, you want to have minions on the board when you're playing this card, so it's definitely better in an aggressive dragon deck, like a dragon warrior, which isn't really a thing anymore, rather than a control dragon deck like priest.
Well, just the old dragons, I think, with some of the worm rests and things like that, this card would have been even better.
It would have been better.
Or Alliestrasza and that sort of stuff. That would have been super good. So if some of those cards come back, you know, some earlier game dragon cards come back, I think this could be a pretty cool card.
Good to discover.
Yeah, for sure.
All
right, let's talk about some hero powers now. It's just kind of moving along.
I know, it was a long one.
Yeah. Okay, so let's just rank the Death Knight hero powers. And I guess not taking into account the Death Knights themselves, which...
Yeah, just the hero powers.
Yeah, just the hero powers, just because, I don't know, it's kind of fun to look at that way. So looks like we all think that Warlock has good, which is, if those of you don't know the hero powers, the Warlock one is deal 3 damage and lifesteal 3. It's basically lifesteal 3 damage. So pretty flexible there, and we've always said that Warlock had issues with healing, and this is basically a hero power heal, so that's pretty nice. But then we start to vary here. So I think Priest is in our top 3. I think we all think that comboing aspect of that could be crazy good, especially with Raza, right? But then you have Hunter number 2. I was like, wow, that is high.
I'm just excited.
Yeah,
I think zombies are going to be great, man. The zombies are great. Like if you can get to that stage in the game,
get to that stage, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's what I mean. Like obviously, like there's a chance that you can just never play the Hunter Death Knight because you can never get that far. But if you get that far, the hero power is fantastic. It's true. So much value. Like it's.
If we're speaking just in terms of the hero powers, I totally agree with you. That's a lot of value.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what I was basing it on. But
yeah, which is what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah. I mean, mine, it's a little bit integrated both, because originally I had Hunter even lower just because I didn't think Hunter was good, but then I was evaluating a little bit closer to just hero power, so it went up a bit. Let's see, Mage, I think we all have at 4. That's cool. Rogue.
All at 4.
You have like Rogue a little further down than we do. I think the Rogue hero power is really good.
I think that's because I just can't see it working. It's not. I don't know.
I just think getting an extra, like the hero power, getting an extra eviscerate, getting, just like the fact that it's just generating a new card every turn is, I think anything that generates extra value and extra cards is just always pretty good. So yeah, I think it's really
especially in Rogue, because Rogue is all about comboing and
combos.
The Seed, I think Seed Rogue will be pretty good. Miracle Seed Rogue should be even better now with some of the tools that they get here. So I like that hero power. I think it just synergizes with at least the existing Rogue, maybe not like some of these other Rogues we've been talking about today. So you guys have Paladin at 6. I actually think Paladin's the worst one. So I'm actually really curious why. Like I must be missing something here.
I might actually agree with you. Like in terms of the Death Knight, I think it's one of the best, and I'm really excited for it. I think summoning a 2/2, summoning a 2/2 every turn is strong. But if we're just comparing it based on all the other hero powers, I actually agree with you. Like I originally thought that Warrior was the worst one, but having a Whirlwind effect hero power could actually just be better. So than just summoning 2/2s
just for Grom and stuff like that.
Yeah. So Jackie, I'm curious what you have to say.
Yeah, I mean, summoning a 2/2 every turn is pretty nice. And it's kind of the factor that it's not just summoning a 2/2. It's like a 2/2 that your opponent's going to have to deal with. If at any point you have like 2 of them on the board, your opponent is like, oh my god, I've got to get rid of these. Like otherwise, I could just lose on the spot.
No, I agree.
I think it's not. Like it's going to be hard to ever actually kill people with the 4 dudes, but I think it's the threat of it.
Is it always a unique one every time you do it?
I don't actually know. I kind of assumed that it was like a shaman hero power where you get a random one.
Yeah. Hopefully it's a unique one. That way there is a threat for any time there's just 4 on the board. You're screwed. Okay. Well, yeah, maybe I'm undervaluing just the 2/2 body, but let's see. Next thing, Shaman.
We've all got Shaman at 7.
Oh, you actually have Druid at 8. I actually think that I had the Druid one higher before, believe it or not. Because I feel like the Druid, the fact that we have Warlock at number 1, and Druid is like the same, except for it just takes damage for what it kills. That's not that much, right? There's not that big of a difference between those two. And I think with like aggro Druid too, it's pretty effective, that hero power, I would think. But I guess you get it super late, so that's irrelevant. They're pretty close, right? Isn't Druid in the
no, I actually think the Druid is one that I might have underestimated a bit. I think it is slightly better than I initially thought. I agree with you on that.
I mean, I used to love Savage Beast, man. I used to love that hero power, man. It's good stuff. Like whenever I got to swing.
I like the Shaman hero power. Like I wanted it to be higher, just in comparison to the other ones. I put it lower, but I think the Shaman.
What's the Shaman hero power again? I'm like forgetting.
Evolve 1 million.
Oh,
basically.
Evolve, right? Evolve, yeah, yeah, that's cool.
I think that just that could be powerful. You make your good trade and buff up, evolve your guy. It's very RNG based though, so like that's why I put it lower than the other ones, because in theory I really like the idea of it, but it's an RNG hero power, so
it can go. I wonder what the statistics are, but it could also backfire on you too, just the evolves only going up 1, right? So okay, well anyways, that's our hero power ranking, and the next thing we're going to do is class rankings, what we predict to be the rankings for the classes, and we kind of broke them up into tiers 1, 2, 3, and I have actually a 4. So all right, so the top 3 you guys had the same. Actually, y'all's are pretty different than mine. Actually quite different than mine. But so we start with there. So you guys think Paladin, Druid, and Rogue will be the top 3, and I think those are going to be good too. Like they're literally like at the top of my second tier. But I actually think Warrior is going to be good. Like I think Warrior is going to be really good. So I'm curious to see what you guys think.
What type of warrior are you thinking?
What warrior?
I think that Quest Warrior will still be good, and I think that just Control Warrior generally have gotten more tools to. I mean, we talked about just even card value tools, and a lot of those cards that we're talking about are cards that like shield block. I mean, cards that give you additional armor, and there's even 2 new cards that give you additional armor too. So I think the fact that Warriors could have infinite cards and they're just like healing cards, it could be boring as hell, but it's still going to be good, I think. So yeah,
I could see it.
I mean, one of the things about Warrior is that you've already got Pirate Warrior and Quest Warrior, which are already pretty good decks. And then if Tempo Warrior becomes a thing as well, then Warrior could be a nicely kind of varied class with lots of
for sure
options.
But I actually think those, maybe not so much Pirate Warrior, but I think Control Warrior's gotten much better. Just with, I mean, even just the card that kills Jade Idol, that's huge. Like that was
that's true. That is true.
Control Warrior under wraps.
Will Pirates still be really good? Like, are we just totally discounting that Pirate Warrior could still be tier 1, or is that?
Yeah, Pirate Warrior is still going to be probably
it's
tier 1.
Still tier 1.
Like,
Worst
I
tier
almost
2.
wanted to put
Worst
Warrior in
tier
tier
2.
1 just.
Yeah,
worst, exactly.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like, well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of taunt though, so it is going to take a hit. There's no question it will take a hit.
Yeah, and lifesteal.
Yeah, lifesteal too. So there's a lot of heal too. So it will take a hit, but that's aggro across the board taking a hit. It's not just Pirate Warrior. So anyways, that's kind of why I have it up there. So Paladin, what type of Paladin are you guys thinking about, like right off the bat?
Hand buff Paladin.
I think hand buff Paladin could still be good. I think that control Paladin could be really good. And I still think that the current like aggro Murloc Paladin could still be strong. Like I
see.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I honestly think that deck is so good, and it's got like late game potential too. Like it's a really fast deck, and like the 5/4, adapting your Murlocs is so explosive sometimes. And then with Stonehill Defender, like you've got Tyrion as endgame. So I don't know. I really feel like that deck would thrive in a control meta actually, because
I mean, you could just add Bone Mare to that existing deck and it's already like upgraded.
Yeah. So
I
think Paladin's just gonna be good.
Yeah, it's so
many different types of Paladins too. So.
Maybe even Divine Shield Paladin. Who knows? But I think a lot of the current meta decks a lot of them will probably still be meta decks. I don't think the meta will change anywhere near as much as it did when Unguro came out, because then a load of stuff was rotating out as well. So a lot of the meta decks will still be meta decks, but maybe with a couple of tweaks and maybe a few new archetypes entering the scene as well.
Yeah, Allie, you mentioned that before the show, right? You were saying that, like, that you didn't feel that these cards were necessarily going to make like as big of a change as you were thinking, right?
Yes, I still stand by that. Because like the reason why I put Rogue in my tier 1 is because I still think Miracle Rogue isn't going away, and if we are playing a lot of control decks, Miracle Rogue is just good against control, and so I think Miracle could have its time to shine in tier 1 too. So.
Yeah, I mean, I actually put Rogue in because I think Tempo Rogue is going to be really good.
I do too. I think Tempo Rogue is...
Or Tempo too, as well.
Yeah.
I mean, just, doing all the deck of the weeks, with a lot of the decks that you've been talking about on the show, Jackie, I think it's definitely opened my eyes to even just the current power of Rogue. And I think the things that they're getting just help with it, especially the Miracle, like you're talking, Allie. Like, there are cards that just give Rogue cards. Just to again with Seed, I think it's going to be great with Shirazin, and there's just multiple types of rogues that you'll be able to play. And I'm not even talking about like the peddler one either. Just the one that we were talking about with just your other opponent's cards. So it's a good time. It's definitely Rogue is a really interesting class right now. But we're looking at a class that was the worst this last expansion, and for at least me and Allie, we still think Warlock's on the bottom. Actually, Hunter too. I think Hunter and Warlock were at the bottom, and Jackie, you actually have Shaman at the bottom instead of Warlock. So talk about that.
Part of the reason Shaman is at the bottom is because Warlock is moving up. I think a lot of the decks that I think could potentially become good, maybe some kind of control Warlock, maybe Tempo Warrior, I think they're both going to be very good against Token Shaman. And I think other than Token Shaman, I don't think there are that many good Shaman decks right now. Like, you can play like Elemental Shaman or Control Shaman or whatever, but realistically, I don't think that good. I think Token Shaman is just the only Shaman deck that really shines. And I think a lot of decks that are going to be good in the meta are going to be very good against Token Shaman. I think that's going to just push Shaman right down.
I think I've rated Shaman far too high. You think so? Actually.
Well, I mean, what classes are you thinking? I mean, I would agree that Warlock is going to be good against Shaman, but
so Warlock, Control Warrior, Tempo Warrior, Paladin, everything. I think everything is going to be good against Shaman.
Well, I mean, a lot of those things.
Even with the new.
Yeah, okay. I mean, like, how is it different than now? Like, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of those classes that you mentioned before, they didn't get new elements that. Like, I mean, they get life.
Yeah, I mean, Druid has the new 5-mana spell that can is very good against Shaman.
Okay, I'll give you that.
I think that could potentially help Druid quite a bit.
But that's
Priest has the new 2-mana AOE spell. I don't know. It's I mean, maybe it's just maybe it's a.
I still think
I could be wrong.
It'd be good, actually. Like, I mean, coupled with the 5, like, I think the fact that the Death Knight's only 5 mana. I think is
that's a
awesome.
Big thing. Yeah,
that's a big thing. However, you are losing up your ability to make totems, actually.
But you're finding stuff. I mean, it's
I don't know.
It's
I still think it'll be good, but like with the whole Warlock thing is that I do think that Warlock will be good against Shaman, but I think that everything else is going to be better against Warlock. So it's kind of one of those things. Well, if you're playing Warlock, yay, you get to beat Shaman, but everything else beats you.
You know what's so funny is that, one of the Q&As, I think the question that we posed to them, right, was whether they were going to do discard. And their answer actually sounded like they were not going to do too much with discard, but they were still going to do like maybe, I was expecting like 1 card to do a discard. There's like 4 cards that have to do with discard. So there's actually a substantial amount of synergy with discard. So they're still trying to work on it. But for me, I think there are some really cool standalone cards for Warlock, but they just don't synergize with, the disco or make disco lock even like good enough that the clunkiness is actually worth doing, and I don't even know if the quest is still relevant. The quest still probably is irrelevant, right? So It's pretty tough, man. I think Warlock will be interesting. I'll be interested to see what Warlock deck you build, Jackie, so I can deck of the week, man, because I can't think of anything like at least right off the bat.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I think Warlock's going to be like when I've been playing a lot of Handlock, Warlock has actually felt fairly good, but just terrible against Mage. And I think it'll be, to be honest, pretty similar. It'll be slightly better against everything else, but probably still terrible against Mage.
Right.
Yeah.
I think Mage is actually taking a hit because of lifesteal. Like, if enough people are running lifesteal cards, like I'm a little sad because Mage is one of my favorites to play, but I think it's gonna be. Oh, did I put it in tier 2? I actually think. Oh no, it's because I only have 3 tiers. Okay, just kidding. Yeah, bottom of tier 2 for me. Or like if I did have 4, I'd put it in tier 3. Unfortunately, because I think there's enough lifesteal cards now that's going to make it harder to just kind of burn off your opponent.
Right. Okay, well, I mean, I think that's it for all of our power rankings and reviews. I think the last thing to maybe talk about is like what decks are you guys going to build on day 1?
Definitely
Jackie hand buff for sure. I mean,
I'm going straight in with hand buff Paladin and Death Knight Control Hunter. They're my two first decks I'm going to.
All right, cool. How about you, Allie?
Death Knight Jaina for sure, and probably Death Knight Paladin, like Control Paladin. I really think, I think those two.
I'm going Death Knight Priest OTK style.
Oh, and
first.
You're ready to meme.
That's right.
Right out the bat.
Wait, OTK? How do you do the OTK?
Oh man, I have to work it out, but I haven't. But definitely something with Raza, as well as like a lot of cheap spells. Cheap spells that refresh the hero power over and over again.
Yeah.
You did exactly how you do it. If it's like something with Raza and Mind Blast and Shadow Vision.
Yeah, and Radiant Elementals too. I mean, it's
Radiant Elementals.
It's going to be a little bit of that. But I mean, it doesn't have to be like a 30 combo. It just has to be enough to kill the guy. You know, it's like
exactly. Yeah.
So it's probably going to be a mixture of stuff. I might even try Quest Priest again. You know, with maybe
I want to do that as well. Death Rattle like N'Zoth.
Yeah, Quest Priest could be a thing.
Could be really good, actually.
Yeah. I think it's slowly becoming better and better and better. So it's like, again, like I feel like they're doing pretty good with Priest and how they're iterating up with it. And I'll probably play Control Warrior just because I just always end up liking Control Warrior is like my default archetype that I always go to. So I just kind of want to get a good sense for it. So I know exactly where Control Warrior is, and I can always go back to it if I need to. So see how good that is with the Quest Warrior too. All right. Well, hopefully you guys will also, at least hopefully you guys that card review will maybe help you guys out there listening and watching too. And let us know what decks you're going to be playing. We're going to be doing some deck of the weeks too with the new ones. I don't think we're going to do a deck of the week for this coming week just because we want to wait until the new cards come out and then we'll obviously present a new one. So one break for deck of the week. We'll try to do a real quick deck of the week tonight though, just to again just for completeness sake in the Kazakus Priest. But we have time for maybe one question. Should we just do one question here?
Sure.
How about actually maybe two. There's one really quick one. So Alex from UK actually has a really interesting question. It is it fair to give streamers a card to reveal, as it seems that streamers given the card may feel obliged to hype it regardless of how good it is? The streamer cannot be that objective, as Blizzard would frown upon it getting trashed or wouldn't ask next time around. Thoughts? Yeah, so I guess it's like kind of a question of, do you guys feel like you have to hype up the card even if you don't? Like the classic case is Trump and Silent Night, right? Like that card reveal, I think, is like the epitome of him really, really trying hard, right, to figure out a way to hype that up. So I don't know, how do you think? What do you guys feel about that? Do you think?
I mean, people don't have to do a card reveal. Like if you don't want to reveal a card, you don't have to. Like I think having the opportunity to reveal a card is quite like a privilege.
It's an honor.
And I feel it's like an honor to do it. So I think no matter how bad the card is, from a streamer's perspective, I think you kind of want to just try and make the most of the opportunity. Personally,
totally, 100%. I would have a really hard time wanting to turn down revealing a card, however bad it is. I think there's a way you can do it. Like, you know, not every single card in the set, you know, is going to be great. And, you know, they have to give, you know, average or kind of weird ones, you know, to some streamers. And so I think that, you know, there's a way to frame how you present it. Like, you can talk about the fun aspects of it and all that stuff, and not necessarily like shit on it completely. You know what I mean? Like, you like, even if it's not good, like, you can still review it in a positive way, you know, and make it fun. So no, I think at that point you should just be happy you'd get a card. Like, at least that's how I would be. I'd be like, sweet, you know, I don't care.
Totally, yeah. And I think it might be, like you said, it might be interpreted as not being objective, but you know, you don't have to talk about negative things. There's like plenty of people that don't talk about the negative side when they're doing card reviews. So I mean, I don't think
there's that much wrong with talking about the negative sides as well, as long as like you want to give kind of a balanced argument. Like, if you can see both sides to it, that's fine. Like, you don't want to just absolutely just like trash the card and say this is awful and blah blah like that. Like, you can say the bad sides about the card as long as you also say where it could potentially be good, or cards it could be used with, and things like that.
Balance is good. Yeah, definitely. Okay, Ahmed, who's our he always has great questions. So that's why you guys are probably wondering, he's like, God, why does he always get the questions? It's because he ends up asking some interesting ones. But actually, Patrick L asked a question we'll try to get to next week. Let's see, Ahmed asks, with Evolve now in tier 1 and 4 mana 7/7 in trash tier, what cards from Ungoro is an early bloomer and will fade, and what is a late bloomer? So anything that you think that
I understand the question.
So basically, is there what Ungoro cards do you think are like quick starters but will fade over time? And which ones do you think are not good right now?
Underrated, basically?
Yeah, underrated, yeah.
Okay.
I think Blood Bloom for me was a late bloomer. I think that will eventually be good.
I still think Umbra, like the Death Rattle stuff, like maybe like maybe she's a late bloomer, and you know, with Death Rattle decks, you know, she could see some play. I'm trying to think of some other ones.
I mean, it really depends what cards are brought out and how the meta changes, because different cards are good depending on the meta. Like the Mage Quest, for example, if everyone's playing aggro, it's terrible. But if everyone's playing really slow decks, it's very, very good. So yeah, that's a card that kind of no one played at the start, but has started to see more play. And if the meta happened to slow down, it would probably see even more play. Yeah.
I'll go out and say that maybe Tar Creeper might get a little bit less play over time. And that might have to do with just like better cards is coming out. I mean, it's kind of scary to think about better cards.
I think
but I don't know. Maybe I'm trying to think of cards that are super popular, you know. And Tar Creeper's
I
really
think
good. It's really
I think the Hunter Quest will have its time.
now, Jaggy. now, balance, right?
I wonder if you could say like Galaka Crawler was an early bloomer, like after Pirates, you know, or
I think that's a good one
or something.
That's a really good one.
You know,
you
could maybe say that.
A
few.
I think that's a good one. Or maybe even just the Murloc, like the 5/4. Maybe that won't be played as much. A little bit later.
I think the hand buff cards could be a big one. They have not really seen any play at all. Whereas cards that are brought out that help hand buffs could suddenly make hand buffs see play. And there's been a significant amount of cards in this expansion that could really make them see play. So yeah.
Okay, well, I think that's hopefully that answered your question, Ahmed. I think his were living mana, and he thinks that the Priest Quest will be a late bloomer too. So
that's a good one. That's a good shot.
I think that's a good one too. All right, guys. Well, this is a long show, man. We went on 2:45, but we had to do it given that we missed last week. So you're getting 2 shows basically in one here. So
card reveals are always long, so it makes sense.
And the release is tomorrow, guys. So hopefully you guys will be excited or get some sleep, because I'm sure you're gonna be deck teching and
smashing some
crafting
memes
and doing all kinds of things tomorrow. So
all night, Red Bull.
Yeah, exactly. Get ready just to be watching streams and Reddit and everything. But I guess we should do some shout outs before we wrap up. Jackie, you want to start us off?
Yeah, shout out to Blizzard for giving me Meat Wagon.
Meat Wagon. Wow, that sounds kind of weird, but but I know what you mean, Jackie.
Okay, I'll leave it at that. You'll tell me.
Yes, I'll copy you there. Shout out to Blizzard for giving me a dragon card. I was so amped. I was like, yes, they gave me dragon. Obviously to our team, FTK, thanks for all the support and love. Just a reminder, just a shout out, 12 o'clock noon Pacific Standard Time. That's when it goes live. So let's just say that. Patrons, obviously, we couldn't do the show without your support. And just, to the people hanging out in chat, thanks for watching.
Yep, you guys are absolutely awesome that sit here and obviously chill with us the entire show. So one reminder too is that we're going to be moving over to Allie's channel starting next week. So we'll be tweeting that, and you can follow the show's Twitter at Value Town GG. All of our Twitters are here: ChanManV, FTK Allie, and FTK Jackie. And you can find the VODs all on youtube.com/ChanManV. All the previous shows are all there. You can find us on iTunes, of course, just by searching for Value Town or Hearthstone, and you'll find us. And as well as Google Play and SoundCloud too. A lot of people don't even know about the SoundCloud exists, so just look for soundcloud.com/ChanManV. All of the shows are there. And I think that's going to be it. I'll have the audios and video up probably in the next, I don't know, maybe hour or two. This is kind of long, so I might break it up into pieces.
Yeah.
Part two.
Yep.
No, it's good to talk about all the different cards, though. It's nice that some of us had different opinions on different stuff as well.
Yeah. I think we covered quite a few, too, because we covered some that weren't on the list, too. So definitely did our best.
I like how we broke it up.
Yeah, we should do that more often instead of going one by one. And
that's good.
I think that's about it. I feel like there's something I always forget to plug. Oh, actually, go to the Patreon too. So patreon.com/ValueTown. Go and check that out, guys. And you can just go to the site, guys. We post stuff there too that's available to everybody, not just the patrons. So I would highly encourage just going there and just seeing what's going on with Value Town. And then ChanManV.tv has all the show notes and everything too. But that's going to be it, guys, for Value Town this week. So for Jackie Chan, Alliestrasza, and myself, ChanManV, we'll see you next week.
See you later, guys.
Bye.
Hype.
Hype.